Evening to you all. It is indeed an enormous achievement and a pride for me as the Vice President of IET On Campus KDU to announce the commencement of the 5th event for this year's calendar of IET On Campus KDU. Amidst the prevailing situation of COVID-19 pandemic, we had to organize this webinar across a virtual platform. Ladies and gentlemen, never become so much of an expert that you stop gaining expertise. View life as a continuous learning experience. Yet we have an elite audience of scholars striving to learn, even if best word with the best of the industrial experiences. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to welcome our keynote speaker of this session, Engineer Pushpa Ranathunga, Dr. Udaya Gampage, the Dean Faculty of Engineering KDU, who always backs us up to make progress every day. Not only that, but also my warmest welcome is extended to all the participants present today from KDU and other universities of the island. On behalf of my Board of Management of IET On Campus KDU, as the Vice President, I am honored and most privileged with your presence today. As engineering students, we have to choose the right path if our intention is to succeed. Ladies and gentlemen, our keynote speaker today, Engineer Pushpa Ranathunga, received his BSc degree in Electrical and Electronics Engineering from the University of Peradeniya. Also, he is a chartered engineer from Institute of Engineers, Sri Lanka, and Institute of Engineering and Technology. And also, he worked in Sri Lanka Telecom for 7 years. Now, he is the International Professional Registration Advisor for IT. Ladies and gentlemen, let me now cordially invite Engineer Pushpa Ranathunga, our keynote speaker today. Over to you, sir.
And good evening to you all. And I should thank Tilini, Sankini, and all the KDU students who've given this opportunity. And it's my pleasure to deliver my experience and share all these things with you all. And I have been working with KDU as well, especially for the newly created hospital at Verahara. I worked with Dr. Lalan, and I was the one who managed to deliver voice connectivities as well as the internet connectivities to KDU Verahara medical faculty as well as the hospital. So it's a pleasure to work with you guys. So I will start my presentation. I will just share my screen. You can see my screen, and if something is happen, let's say you can't hear something, then please disturb me and please let me know, because I will continuously deliver this session. And the thing is, if you are having any questions related to my presentation, please use the chat box, and at the end of this presentation, I will answer all these questions. Okay, so so what I'm going to present here today is the practical approach on project management in Sri Lankan industry for an engineer. I think you have been having a good understanding related to project management in the university. So I must say that I am not going to cover any related theories in project management, because the thing is, what you expect from me is about the industry, how it is applied in the industry. Are they really work on the industry, or we are doing any different sort of project management in industry? So I think you will be going to any place in Sri Lanka, in a military or in private organization, or you are appointed as an engineer in a government organization. I don't know whether I still feel sometimes you still don't know where you will be placed. And as far as I have experience, this thing is differ from the industry. Sometimes it differs from private industry, sometimes it differs from military, or sometimes in government. But still, there are some things you have to not in Sri Lankan industry. That is why I'm going to share with you. Okay, so this is a bit about theory. A project is a temporary endeavor. And as I mentioned earlier, I have informed you that I delivered voice connectivity and internet connectivity to KDU. But this it's a project. It's not like an operational task. And for KDU where let's say we have to design fiber connectivity from two different parts. So I designed that. I implemented that. But the thing is, it's a totally new project and it's temporary. The thing is, it was like having the total implementation period was one month. But still, KDU where they are using these internet facilities. After those 2 months of period, it has taken up the operational tasks. So project and the operation, you have to go that line. As an engineer, when you are going to the industry, you have to know what is project and what is operation. Project is a temporary one and it's not a repeating task. Let's say if I need to deliver 100 internet connections, then it's a separate project for 100 internet connections, but not for each and everyone. So the thing is, this project consists of a temporary endeavor, so that it's some kind of first one in the nature. But after the project, I have to hand over to operation. So first thing, my friends, you have to understand what is the difference of project and operation. Project is something we do and we stop at one place. Let's say for huge projects, let's say Port City. It consists of so many small projects. We can say that it's a portfolio because it consists of so many projects and it's strategic. So these kind of portfolios, it may go for like 3 to 4, 5, 10 years. But still, after the delivery of Port City, then it will be terminated. The project will be terminated. Then for 10 years and onward, it will be an operational task. So you have to understand what is project and what is operation. That is the first learnings you should take on from the industry. And project is a unique one. It's not a routing operation. Let's say, if, as I explained earlier, if Dr. Lalan asked me, Pushpa, you have to deliver 100 more internet connections. But what should I do? I already have the fiber infrastructure. You already have good internet connection. I want somebody to say, hey, this is the thing. This is an operational task. You have to copy and paste. You have to copy and paste all these things. So providing the initial one and operating, maintaining, copying, all this stuff is operation. The project is the unique attribute. So you have to understand that really well. Project management is the application of knowledge, skills, tools, and techniques. So the thing is, there is a logical flow. I do believe that you have learned something in the industry, I mean in the university. I do believe you have understood some of the principles, and what I am referring today is PMI standard. There are so many project management. Even in MAs, they are having Lean, Six Sigma, Prince. There are so many logical principles. In the globe, if you find something, they definitely follow either one of them. And but in the underlying layer of all these things, they are going towards a logical trend. So project management is a logical, scientific method of managing the application of all these things. So you have to understand the difference of project and project management. And through this journey, I believe that you will start your career as a project officer, because start away, I don't think that you will be having a project management role. Because still you will be assigned as a project manager. If you come to Sri Lanka Telecom, sometimes your designation will be project manager in this project. But still, you don't have all these kind of experience. Even in PMI, they don't take people who don't have 3 years of project experience or PMP certification. So depends on the industry. Sometimes your boss and all other staff, chief employees will understand you are a project officer. You need to gain the experience, then you will go ahead as a project manager. Sometimes if the company is smaller, or that project manager went abroad and you need the company needs somebody to go to that project progress meetings in Yapane, Ratnapuro, whatever the place, then you have to face. But the thing is, I will go through in this presentation. I will imagine that you are having project management idea, but you will be assigned as a project officer. But my aim is not to make you a project officer throughout your career. So I will try to be specific on the knowledge areas that you need to learn, and I want you to be the best project manager. So that is my idea. So let's go through. First, you have to understand the triple constraints. Triple constraints are cost, scope, and time. First and most important thing is scope. Without the scope, the project will not be available. Let's say you go to industry, you go to, let's say, Ceylon Electricity Board. Then they will start a plant, electrical plant, let's say in Norelia. That is the scope. Then you have to schedule. You have to do the whole schedule, all these things. Okay, if I start the plant, you have to buy a land, and you have to buy all these necessary equipments. You have to acquire the resources, HR, and all other stuff. Then next item is you need to understand how all these things are cost. Each item there will be some cost. So these are the triple constraints in a project. You have to understand and balance them as a project manager. You have to be very strict on that. In the right side, you can see not only 3 but 6 constraints. So in project management, we do say that there are 6 altogether. Apart from scope, cost, time, we have quality, risk, and resources. So the thing is, you have to balance each and all these things as a project manager or as a project officer. So this is theory. And this is what you will face in Sri Lankan context typically. Let's say I'm saying that this belongs to a project customer, but sometimes it belongs to a project in your own company. Let's say you are in CEB, you are building a plant for CEB, not for customer. So let's say customer or representative or to your organization, you are doing the project as a project manager. The challenge here is, my friends, customer is requesting to increase the scope without any additional cost and in a reduced time frame. This is the most tedious task that project managers face in Sri Lankan context. Remember, scope, cost, and time. I said that you have to balance that. But the thing is, in the real industry, you will face a lot of things. You have to increase the scope. Let's say you go to Norelia, you do all this costing and you do all this scheduling, all those stuff. Then again, somebody comes from, let's say, a president from USA. He comes, he visits a CEB new factory. Then he is asking, come on, we can have 2 more power stations in this place. Then you will be asked to have 3 instead of 1 power plant. You have to plan for 3 power plants with 1 month reduced at the same cost. Think in that matter. Sometimes, I'm not saying 100% of the time this is happening, but the thing is, these are the challenges you must face in Sri Lankan industry, because most of the time the scope is not fixed. Yeah, it can be. In agile project management, it is the way, but most of the times, even in waterfall approach, the scope is fixed, but still you will be facing those things. So my friends, you have to face these things in the industry. So what matters most, we will go through. This is the process. I got this from Ricardo Vargas. If you are following PMP, this is the best tool. So you have a wonderful process. You initiate this, then you plan it, you plan first scope, then you have to gather the requirements, you have to define a scope, then you have to bring down all these subcategories. Let's say if you are building a CB plant, then you have to build like buildings, then you have to have some people, then you have to find some fuel. So all these stuffs are work breakdown structures. Then you have to schedule the activities, you have to understand how they are correlated dependencies. And then after analyzing all this stuff, you will go to the cost management, then quality. So this is a great process. That's why I said this is a logical and a great process. Even you follow Prince or somewhat else, this is a great process. So the thing is, you have to stick to one. First and second most important thing is you have to stick to one process, either Prince or PMP, I mean PMI standards. So I will go through with the PMI standards because I have expertise on that. So this is a great process. Let's see what is beyond that. And my question is, are we following this? As project managers or as project officers, are we following these standards? I would say yes and no. And it depends. If you happen to read this a PMI book, I mean the book itself is having like 600 pages. Okay, so as I explained earlier, I said that I got a requirement from KDU, and for that project I was having like 1 month. So if I want to do all these diagrams and I want to follow all this stuff, then it will actually, for the documentation itself, it will take like 1 year. So the thing is, it depends. Are we following this? It depends. Yes, we have to understand the logic. We have to understand how all these things are happening. You have to initiate, you have to plan. You plan scope first, you plan schedule next, then cost. Then when you are going for the risk factors, then you have to come back again. It's an iterative process. So you have to understand that. And sometimes risk factors happens. In project management, we call those known unknown and unknown unknown. Before 2020 March, we didn't know about COVID. So in 2020 March, COVID affected. Even my projects affected. Let's say I started the project. I started a high-rising building project on January 2020. Then I had to close that on 30th April 2020. But what happened? In March, COVID affected whole country. So it was an unknown thing. Then my project was dragged. And it was ended up on December. I completed ELV, that means CCTV, LAN, and all other stuff in December. It affected very well. Now, COVID third wave affected in Sri Lanka. That is a known unknown right now. We have to face those things. We have to plan those things. And project management is all about that. You can't say after planning, I can't, in the implementation scope, let's say in executing phase, I can't go back to planning phase. But that is not happening. So this is a great opportunity. This is a great logical scenario that you need to follow. You have to have that in your mind. Okay. But you can't follow that in 100% at all the time. Let's say for a project like Port City, yes, definitely this should be followed, because the thing is, it's a huge project. There are so many constraints, and we have to look all of these things. But let's say a project like it's a 1 month project, or 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I'm continuously having this. Even in last week, I got a requirement from data center from a company that they need a data center and a disaster recovery site. That means one data, let's say KDU, all the data in Berhara. Now they are planning a disaster recovery site. If something happens on Berhara, then the data still, your registration number, your payments, if let's say something happens, a fire happens at your Berhara premises, then all your registration numbers, payments, examination results, all gone. So KDU, this is not about KDU. I'm referring another customer, but for the simplicity, I'm telling about KDU. Then let's say KDU requests me, Pushpa, I need a DR site in 2 weeks time. then I will go ahead with all these documentation, and even the small scale of thing I will take like 1 month to prepare. So it is not practical in that sense. So you have to think from your common sense whether I need to follow this. Yes, you need to follow. You have to have an idea, but it doesn't say you have to document and you have to follow each and every step. And apart from that, it depends on your industry as well. Sometimes the boss doesn't know about project management guidelines, but still he's a perfect guy in handling the situations. He will say, Pushpa, you do this, you did this. I don't know, whatever the way you do this, it's up to you. After whatever the results, let's say after 1 week or 2 weeks, I need this customer's data center, it's a data center. I don't know how you do doing that. Okay, so it depends on your industry. They are, I mean, your boss, your chief officer, your GM, AGM, DGM, they are great. They are great at situational handling. They are great at project management, but in different perspectives, not according to the PMI. Sometimes with the experience. Actually, I joined Sri Lanka Telecom in 2014. Previously, I was at MS at 2013. And I learned about project management as a course in 2020. And when I heard about all these theories and subjects, I thought, what? I have been practiced. It's so totally different thing. But the thing is, the thing is like say 50% of the time industry is relating to PMI standards. But the thing is, 50% of the time it's not related. But you have to do the work and you have to get results somehow. That's all you should focus. Even you follow all these things 100%, if you can't satisfy your stakeholders and deliver the project in tight time, you are a failed project manager. Let's say there is another guy, he sleeps always. He delivers the project at current, according to the timeline, with given cost. He has not followed all these standards. He has done it somehow. He has a good relationship with all these engineers and managers and all other stuff. He called them, he messaged them, and sometimes he was having all these guys and he entertained them in a bar. That is what is happening in the industry. The industry wants the end result, but as a project manager, you have to know how you do it. So all this depends. The answer for this site is it depends. Okay, so let's come to more in my experience. What are the specific things we noted in this process? First one, talent angle. So this is very specific in project management. First one is, let's take the first one is the strategic and business management. This is where you are right now. Okay, you have two knowledge areas. One is tacit knowledge. The second one is explicit knowledge. Explicit knowledge is the thing that you are gaining right now at KDU. So it is something you are taking from your books, practicals, or all other stuff in the university. It's book related one. You can read, you can write, you can memorize, you can sit for exam. Your lecturers can decide whether you are a pass, you are a failed one. That is explicit knowledge. But in the industry, tacit knowledge is very important. I have seen people that they are very good in academics. They are having first class in academics, but the thing is in the industry, they are failing. And I have seen people, they are not good in academics. Even I am also having second lower, to be frank. But still I'm managing. I'm not saying I'm the best in the company, but I'm managing. Okay. Why is that? Explicit knowledge and the tacit knowledge is two different things. Without the explicit knowledge, you cannot survive in the industry. Even it's not against, it's against the PMI standards. Let's say, as stated earlier, I am having an electrical and electronic engineering degree, and I have done so many telecommunication subjects, and I'm working as a telecommunication engineer. But I don't know anything related to civil engineering. Say I have been asked to do a project related to civil engineering, building structure, high-rise building from Urban Development Authority. They are asking me to build the building. No, I can't do that because I don't have this explicit knowledge. I don't know anything related to civil engineering. So explicit knowledge should be available. On top of that, you have to have the tacit knowledge. Tacit knowledge is not coming very easily. Please understand that. You have to gain that experience in great measures. I don't know whether there are so many things. Today is also a special day because today you are gaining tacit knowledge from me. This is a storytelling, knowledge sharing session. These are the things that you should follow. Let's say somebody from here, even I have a good friend from KDU engineering faculty. Actually, he is from the first batch. Okay, he came to me and asking, Aya, I have got a project and I have to do a call center. Okay, let's say I suppose it's a Bank of Ceylon. Back of Ceylon comes this guy and he's asking, hi, I need a call center. How do you deliver a call center to me? But the thing is that fellow from KDU, he just passed out. He knows how call center works, how the signaling and all other stuff working. The technical background expert. He's having a first class. Let's say he's having a first class, but he doesn't know how it is handled, who is configuring, who is managing, what are the resources, who should I call? If something happens, whom should I escalate? He doesn't know. So he needs to find a way to manage all these things. That is called tacit knowledge. For me, I have a tacit knowledge in telecommunication industry for 7 years. But believe me, first year is very hard for me. And again, the tacit knowledge, I had a good friend in my office, and he was extremely basic. And when I asked something from him, he said, Majang, I have so many works to do. So can you wait until 9 p.m. On Monday? So Monday, I was traveling from my home to Colombo and I was very sleepy. But the thing is, he asked me to do so. What should I do? Because otherwise, I don't gain that experience that customer or my management is having. So though I was very sleepy, I had to wait. So I was waiting. Sometimes I was sleeping at table, but like after 9 p.m. is telling me, Machan, this is the thing that you have to do. If you are going to start a call center, then you should call this guy. This guy is the one who is having all the access. So you have to call him. Then you have to say, route this, this is the number, this is the contact. And if he's not working, his boss is this. You have to call him. If both of them are not working, their boss is this. But don't go that far. If it is very worse, you go that far. So to have this kind of information and to gain how people think, how people behave, is not an easy task. I think that is the tricky thing you will be facing in your first year. Even when I went to Sri Lanka Telecom, my boss told me, my first boss told me, Pushpa, it will take like 1 year to understand all these things. I thought, why? What? Is this guy mad? I really thought that. Because I was, let's say, I am telling this to especially final year students. Okay. Final year technical engineering field is a technical field. So you have this technical fever. I should do technical things. But you have great explicit knowledge, but the tacit knowledge is not available. Believe me, it will be a bit difficult. So it is a trick point. And technical project management, PMP, is coming under that picture. Because with PMP, you know how to handle these things strategically. And next one is leadership. Sometimes I'm also having lack of leadership skills, but I have to gain that. So this talent triangle, you have to maintain. And the next thing, why PMP is important? I mean, am I promoting PMP? No. This is this is something I captured from a job. Some company advertised this. I think this was like senior project manager. The position was senior project manager. Look at the first one. BSc Computer Science with PMP. So they are thinking in Sri Lankan industry, they are thinking that having PMP is like you are great at this blue color side. Yes, with the KDU degree, you will be having this purple color qualification, strategic and business management. Yes, no one will challenge you. Definitely, no one will challenge you. But the thing is, look at this one, PMP qualification. That is an indication of this blue color one. Right side one, then definitely they will understand that in the interview. So this is why it is important to have PMP, but don't rush, because at least you have to have 3 years of experience. And with PMP, people think you are a logical guy in project management. So I took this from Game of Thrones. I think TV series lovers. This was wonderful TV series, and it was like #1 in ranks. I told tacit knowledge, explicit knowledge. Does it matter? See the second quarter. Guy is saying knowledge is power. He's a simple guy. See the fourth quarter. She's a queen. Queen says, "He's him, cut his throat. Knowledge is power." Yes, he's him, cut his throat. Then this guy was panicked. Lord Baelish, he was panicked. And Queen says, then what she said, power is power. In Sri Lankan context, sometimes we have to feel the power. Yes, knowledge is power. If everything is happening under project management, that 100% case, it is in second quarter. You can see knowledge is power. But in Sri Lanka, still we are having huge power distance. Some private organizations, they are not having this power distance. Most of the government institutions and even in some private organizations, they are having the power distance. Even let's say in MS culture, they don't have, but in let's say in SLT, some area they are having this, some area they are not having this. So Sri Lanka is not has not come to a position that power distance is no more. I think you also understand that. Okay, so when it comes to power, all these theories, they are in vain. So you have to understand that. You have to understand the culture, behavior, all these things in Sri Lankan context. You can avoid this, of course. I'm not saying we can't avoid this. To have that, you have to have a great communication skills. That is the most important thing that I'm going to tell you. You should be a great influencer. Take on all the soft skills that you are having. Let's say you have a big mouth. You can shout. Take that as a soft skill. Update that. Let's say you are a good singer. Okay. Telecommunication industry, what is the purpose of having singer at the industry? Yeah, sometimes it counts. Okay. You have to have these all tricks in your bag. Okay. You have to manage, you have to tackle all these powerful people with that. Okay, you have to understand that. First trick, I already informed that. Reveal says 2% of the managers, project managers, they do possess good relationship, good communication skills, and indeed they show good positive attitudes. These are the 3 main things that you have to have in your bag. You have to have great relationships. Let's say you are a project manager or project officer, I don't care. You go for an industry, you go for a company that gave you 2 billion award, 2 billion LKR award. And in the meeting request, you see Kasun Karuna Ratna, Kasun Gunatunga, Sandun Namarasinghe, Amara Pereira. Okay. So what do? You will check their LinkedIn profile, you check their Facebook profile, you find someone who is a mutual friend of them, and you speak with him. Machang, I have a meeting with this guy. How is he? Is he good? Is he bad? How he behaves in meeting? How can we tackle him? You have to have all these tricks prior to this conversation. You have to understand your battlefield. Project management itself is a battle. You have to understand your tricks, your strengths, your weakness. You have to understand your enemy. So you have to be, you have to be very familiar with all these things. So relationship is very much important. And I must say, your batchmates are very much important, because in the industry, sometimes you feel you are alone. The best thing you can call a friend. Okay. So all these things are very important. Trick two, you have to adapt to the conditions. Let's say COVID hits Sri Lanka, and normally I wake up at 6 p.m. if I want to go to office. But now I wake up at 8 a.m. But I get calls even at 12 p.m. You have to adapt. You adapt, you have to adapt. I will just show you a fantasy to you to understand that. See, it's fantasy, not project management. But get an understanding on what you are going to do. You have to adapt. You have to be the lead. Sometimes you have to go against that. But the thing is, you have to be smart. So whatever the place you go, whatever the place you have to work, whatever the place you have to manage the project, you have to adapt to the conditions. You have to adapt to the culture of the place. You have to understand how they behave. Sometimes you have to change yourself. Sometimes you have to change your dress code. Even let's say for myself, when I'm meeting my customers, previously I had a handshake, but now I can't do that. I have to say I won, but I'm not good at that. But I have to practice. As a project manager, people expect you to do it. So in project management, there are two ways. Either you adapt or you have to fed up. Very simple theory. And trick three, I think this is also from Game of Thrones. The North remembers. People remember who you are. People understand, people respect you the way you respect to others. And the first impression of you is very important. Let's say for me, I know I have told you how it was difficult for me to gain the tacit knowledge that I had. But I still love the people who supported me. And I will in return support them very well. So if that guy is a project manager, I will support him very well. Some people waited like until 10 p.m. to support me. So if they call me, Pushpa, I have this thing and it should be done tomorrow. So can you do? I can say no. Very simple. According to the protocols and all this stuff, I can say no, I can't do that. I have that work and other stuff. But in the industry, if you are having good impression, good reputation, then it will be pretty easy to you. So people remember who you are, and you can remember who they are. So you have to maintain that, and you have to continuously have this. I have two good friends in SRT. They have a good first impression. Customers say, "Wow, please bring him to the next meeting." You are not good. You go away. You should bring that guy as the project manager. Sometimes good friends, even in my industry, I have good friends as my customers. They say, "You are not a good guy. That guy is great. He's a good project manager." But the thing is, let's say after 2 weeks time, I find they are quarreling, arguing for simple things. So you have to continue that. So these three tricks you have to follow. And you have to understand. And then now I am moving towards some kind of, let's say in project management PMI, they have 10 knowledge areas. So I'm touching all these things. important things in the industry, Sri Lankan industry. You have to understand Sri Lanka is also having different sorts of organizations. And most of them are functional, but some are moving towards matrix. So you have to understand that as a project manager. And scope. This is the hateful thing. This is a hateful thing that I'm having. Scope creep. Customer is asking, I want this. And your developer, your team say, yeah, I can do. It's technically possible. Then you feel, hey, come on. If you increase the scope, then there will be like 2 more days to complete this. And the cost increasement is like 100,000 LKR. Who will bear that? You have to manage that. Most of the time, customers are asking that, and we want to be good for them. Customers expect project manager to be good guy. So they are asking more, and we compelled to say yes. But we have to understand what will be happening to the triple constraints. That is the thing. Whether cost will be increased, whether in project management perspective, no more. If it is not an agile project, you have to say, if it is a waterfall approach, you have to say, we have to go to change control board. Change control board, we will get the approval. And if the approval says like, yeah, we can do that, but the cost increment will be like 100,000 and there will be 3 more days to complete the project, then that's okay. But remember, scope creep, which I'm describing, is something very not good to you as a project manager, because customer asking more and you say yes, don't do so. You have to take the business, you have to carry on with this relationship, you have to improve your relationship. Yes, you manage that. You have to say, yeah, it's good. You also like that you are doing these changes, you are having these changes. But the thing is, there will be increment in cost, and we have to think about in some other ways. Let's say in next phase of the project, we can do that, definitely. Show some good intent, positive attitude, but manage the project without scope creep. This is one of the most important things, precedence. And let's say A to B, finish to start, okay? And in this context, A and B will be having finish to start. A will take 8 days and B will be taking 12 days, and it will take 20 days. But somehow your boss or your CEO says, no, we have to deliver this within 16 days because at the end of the 16th day, president will be opening this. So somehow or other, we have to do that. Okay, you have to face that. Then if you take this, let's say work package B 4 days earlier, then there will be a risk. You have to manage that. Okay, you have to understand what are the risk factors and how can I avoid that. You have to manage that. These things you will face in the industry. And apart from that, you will be having estimations, and most of the estimations will be parametric, because in the industry, as I said earlier, let's say for me, I am having so many projects. Even right now, I have more than 50 projects. So let's say if I want to use my time for like 1 year to develop diagrams and precedents and all other stuff, it will take so many. I can't do that. So most of the times it will be parametric. So you will compare that with some other projects which you did similar to that, but you make estimations. And when you are doing that, you will have to face resource leveling and smoothing as well. Most of the time, you will face resource smoothing because you get so many requirements, but you don't find all the relevances and all other stuff related to the time. People expect you to do all the things at one instance. For an example, if you look at your calendar as a project manager or as a project coordinator or project officer, you will have to attend 3 meetings at one instance. Then what do? If you say no, then Sometimes it will be hard time to do. You have to manage that with the great communication skills. Okay, so that's why I said your communication skills are very important. So don't say like, don't write a letter, I can't come. You have to manage that. It is extremely important. I know that, but I am having this thing which was which I agreed earlier. Okay, so I know this is very important to. I will attend it as soon as possible. Okay, so you have to manage all those things. And apart from resource leveling and smoothing, you will face most of crashing and fast tracking. I explained fast tracking earlier, and you will face crashing as well. But most of the time, you will face fast tracking because let's say for a project, if somebody, let's say if your boss or sponsor allocated people, they will not allocate no more. I mean, they will not allocate more people to your project. So you have to do the project with the same resources at the given time. So most of the times it will be fast track. And believe me, I saw this post today only. I will repeat this, I will translate this in English. It says in other offices, if you do good work, more work, your salary will be increased. But in our office, if we do all the things at given time, we will be having more work. So these are the issues you face in resource smoothing and fast tracking. In the industry, if you do good, okay, you will be recognized as a great one. Okay, that is good. Don't go away with that. Your reputation precedes you. Don't go away with that. Sometimes you will feel it's enough. I can't do that. I don't have time to go ahead with my wife, my family, my girlfriend, my boyfriend. It's enough. Sometimes you feel that. So you have to manage that as a project manager. You have to say your sponsor or your project manager, say, I have done so this stuff and this is my free time. And I have promised my family that I will be with them. So please kindly allow me to be with them and I will definitely do this thing tomorrow on and so all other stuff. That's why I said, I repeatedly said, you have to have good communication skills or else your team or yourself will be posting this kind of posts in Facebook. And when it comes to quality, this is one of the most important things. You have to do prevention. You have to focus more in prevention other than customer finding that. If customer finds there are any errors, then there will be so many blames. Your credibility as a project manager, your company's name, all of these things will be damaged. So make sure you understand and you find faults or whatever the things which are not in line with your process as early as possible and make some effort to that place. And emotional intelligence, this is very useful. Human handling is one of the most important aspects in Sri Lanka for project management. You have to have some emotional intelligence. You have to have some social skills. If you can dance, that's great. If you can perform with people, that's great. If you can motivate them, even yesterday I got a call from a girl. She said, she's a new account manager for me. She said customer blamed her for not giving some things at right time. I said, hey, take it easy, take it easy. Don't take that too hard on you. Use your head and do the things in a correct way, logical way. People will shout at you. You have to manage that. You have to say extremely sorry. I know you are in good, I know you are not in a good mood. And I know it is very important to you. And I have called with, I have set up a meeting with my bosses and project manager and all other stuff. And we have concluded that we will give this within 2 weeks. Then sometimes he will say, no, I want this within 1 week. Then you have to convince him. These kind of things you have to do. You have to motivate your team. And next thing, before going to next thing, you have to improve your empathy abilities. I will go ahead with another fantasy related to empathy. Just look at this. And I'm not asking you to have antennas on your head, but you have to act like that.
I think they have something to do with my empathic abilities.
What are those?
If I touch someone, I can feel their feelings.
You read minds?
No, telepaths know thoughts. Empaths feel feelings. Emotions. May I?
All right.
You feel love.
Yeah, I guess, I feel a general unselfish love for just about everybody.
No. Romantic, sexual love.
No, I don't.
For her.
No, that is not. Okay. That's.
She just told everyone your deepest, darkest secret.
Dude, come on. I think you're overreacting a little bit.
You must be so embarrassed. Do me.
I have never felt such shit.
Oh my God.
So that is how emotional intelligence works. I think you also felt that, and you have to understand how other team work. I mean, your team players, your boss, your subordinate, how they are feeling, how they are. Let's say somebody even in my section. Previously, we had a group concept. We had 3 groups. Now it's like we have given targets to the whole section. The whole section consists of 3 groups. So we need to understand what others feel. Let's say if somebody is having some issue, some hitbacks, let's say somebody is feeling dengue, he's not well, he will not be available for 2 weeks. Then we should not ask, can you work? Can you come to office? We should not ask. We should feel how they feel. So these kind of things you have to improve. I know that even sometimes I am having some lack of all these things, but still you have to improve. And this is one another very important thing in project management. Interpersonal skills. Remember, this area is very important. HR, managing HR. As I stated earlier, dependability, responsibility. You have to take responsibilities. You should not go away. You should not pass the ball. Yeah, you should pass the ball in different manner. Let's say somebody pass the ball to you. What you do? You will take all the details. You will write what you need to do. You will instruct what others need to do, and you pass the ball. That's how you should do. You should not slip that. And teamwork, very important. Active listening, very important. You have to listen what others say. You have to listen. You have to take actions on them. And we have to be very patient. You can't rush your teams and your customers. And you have to be very specific with resource allocation. You have to understand their availability for stability and their experience, knowledge, attitude. Sometimes only 1 or 2 people know what is happening, but you have to manage them very well. And you have to develop your people as well. You have to train them. You have to in the same way that I am doing to you. You have to coach them, train them. You have to develop these skills. This is very important. If you are a project manager, please make sure if you are having new project officers, please make sure you allocate some time to develop them, train them. That is giving you tremendous advantage. And you have to handle the conflicts. I will be rushing because I'm having little time. And you have to have so many in officers, in projects, people do not, people usually do not agree with something. So you have to convince them to come to a compromisation and accommodation, whatever thing. So what best way is to have win-win situation. So if everybody is collaborating, both parties win, then it's easy. But sometimes you have to compromise something. Both parties lose something. So you have to handle that. In that context, your relationship, communication skills does matter. And what I see in the industry is there are so many risks. But the thing is, people understand only the risk, not the probability. Sorry, not people will understand only the impact. Even let's say I have been working as a project officer in a huge project. Let's say it's around 4 billion project. It's a huge project. Let's say there is a one single component. There is a box. Let's say there is a box in our data center. If that box fails, total network will be failing. And people are talking loads of things about this, how this is happening. It's like you are talking when I actually felt that it's like I am going to my office and people will say, Pushpa, please don't go. The cloud will come down to your head. What is the probability? The cloud will be coming down to my head is 0%. But it's like that. People will say a lot of things, huge impact. But the thing is, probability is less than 1%. So make sure you assessing the risk with both probability and impact. Sometimes you have to accommodate them. Sometimes you have to avoid them. And meeting management, very important. I go to usually I have so many meetings and I go to most of the meetings wondering. I don't know what is the agenda, whether I really want in that meeting. But the thing is, if I don't go, people say bad things about me. So I try my best. I convince people. This is the best way to have a meeting. You invite the right people. You deliver the agenda at right time, and most importantly, you mail all these things so that nobody forgets. Believe me, this will be a great burden to you when you are going to the industry. This is a great burden. You have to practice this a lot. As a project manager, your time will be wasted a lot if you don't manage your meetings. Sometimes your whole day will be like having 6 to 7 meetings from 8:30 to 6:30 p.m. As a project manager, you should do something. You can't sit, you can't talk and talk every day and every hour. You should do work as well. So at what time you are going to do all this work? After 6:30 p.m. Then you look at your phone at 6:30, you will be having 100 missed calls. As a project manager, you should answer all these calls and give feedback to the correct team. So you take 100 calls out. It will take like 10 p.m. So what is happening? You don't have a personal life at that moment. So you have to manage all these meetings in a smart way. So your communication skills does matter on that. Official communications, use your mail effectively. I have been working in SRT for 7 years. Since the day one, I use flagging option, red flag to my work, and I never got a complaint that I missed anything. Things I missed. Normally, my boss once said, a single person, he does 300 mistakes a day. Yeah, I do mistakes. Sometimes I write wrong mails, but I never miss something came to me. Sometimes I very rarely, like let's say 1 in 100, I missed a mail. But use this very effectively, and your mail will be like your best friend in communication, in official written communication. And don't think that you can memorize all the things. As a project manager, even you agree on something related to some matters, verbally, you have to write it down. Because normally for myself, I forget everything. So whatever the communication, even let's say I call Sankini, even I call Tilini, I write it down, I will send a mail. That's how I behave. And procurement types. Most of the procurement types in Sri Lanka is fixed price. For the fixed price procurement, it should be having a fixed scope. But the thing is, scope is not fixed. That's a great challenge you will be facing. Because you are the technical guy. And sometimes customer is not having technical knowledge. So he is preparing all the RFP and all other stuff. Even in your organization also it's happening. You fill the RFP as you fix the RFP as a fixed price. But the thing is ultimately it's not fixed. Then there will be loads of questions. So you have to be very careful on that. And stakeholder management. You have to understand this very correctly. As I told earlier, there are so many powerful people in Sri Lankan industry, and Sri Lankan industry power distance is very high. And you have to keep them satisfied if their interest is low. But if they are interested higher, you have to manage them close. You have to update them every day. You have to send a WhatsApp message, or you have to call them early morning, sir, this is the thing. You have to manage them very closely. So keep that in mind. And you have to have good engagement. Even in Monday, I have this kind of feeling because I have completed the project, but I have so many issues with customer. Though I completed that, they are saying that is not working, this is not working. But actually, let's say they are saying that I have given a network. They are saying this network is not reachable, but it is reachable. So then they are saying, no, yesterday it was not reachable, today is reachable. Then I know that it is politics. It is working. They are gaining something to say that it is not working. So we have, it's like their stakeholder one is in resistant quadrant. So I know a guy who can tackle this guy. So what I am doing, I will take this guy who can tackle this one to that meeting. Then he will have a handshake, or he will hug that guy. Machan, what is happening? It is working. Why are you saying so? He will say, no, Machan, I thought that it was not working because 1 month ago it was not working. So you have to understand your stakeholders very well, where they are located and where you should put them. And thank you. I think I have gone through all 10 knowledge areas. Within an hour is very difficult to manage, but I think I covered all the things which are very tricky, and which are not available in books. So I think I tried to go towards some fantasy movies. If I am getting bored, very sorry for that, and I try to do that in an interactive way. I think you gain fantastic knowledge from my this 1 hour lecture. Thank you for listening. And
okay, so thank you. If you have any question, now you can ask, or you can put in the chat box.
I think it may have not understood to anybody, or people listened it very well.
I think there are no more questions, so we will move to the end of our session, sir. Keynote speaker, Engineer Pushpa Ranathunga, and the board members of IET On Campus KDU. Ladies and gentlemen, a very good evening to you all. It's great privilege for me to extend my sincere gratitude to Engineer Pushpa Ranathunga, the keynote speaker of the webinar, PMP Certified Project Manager, an international professional engineer at Government Business in Sri Lanka Telecom PLC, for accepting our invitation and gracing the occasion with your presence and inform students about the practical approach on project management in Sri Lankan industry. This is a very interactive session, sir. And also I would thankful to advisors of IET On Campus KDU for the guidance and supervision in making this event remarkable. I thank you wholeheartedly for your utmost diligence and for your presence today. And also I'm glad to extend my deepest sense of commendation all the board members and general members of IET On Campus KDU. Your timely contribution for IET On Campus is highly appreciated always. Last but not least, a special thank goes to all our participants today from the universities island-wide for the humble acceptance of our invitation and for your participation today, without whom this event wouldn't have been a success. It's pretty sure, I hope we inspired you to build up your project management knowledge with practical approaches in industry. Once again, thank you very much and have a pleasant evening.